Welcome back. The Trump administration has claimed the Biden administration improperly distributed climate change-related funds to organizations it calls undeserving. Earlier today, I spoke to the head of one of those organizations. It received a $2 billion grant from the EPA during the Biden era. The Trump administration is now trying to get that money back. Here is some of that conversation. Tim, it's great to see you. Thanks so much for joining me here at the Takeout. I'm going to give you a big picture question because there's a lot of things that have been name-checked recently by the Trump administration. One, that the organization that you are funded through or received a grant from is a part of a scam, that Stacey Abrams is involved, and that there is rampant criminality that requires the intervention of the Justice Department to save taxpayer funds. Give me your assessment of all those things that are out there.
So it's great to be here. Thanks for the question. So I'm the CEO of Power Forward Communities. PFC is a coalition of some of the nation's leading nonprofits that are really focused on affordable housing, which is a great need in this country, and lowering energy costs, utility bills for regular Americans. That's what the organization's about. It's made up of truly leading, nationwide, highly respected nonprofit organizations. The group came together to apply for a grant from the Environmental Protection Agency to be able to do that work.
With funding that was created in the Inflation Reduction Act under the previous administration.
Correct. So we went through that process. It was a highly competitive process, and we had put together, I think, what was a very impressive application to the EPA, focused in on the two things I mentioned, affordable housing and lowering energy costs. The new administration decided that it didn't like that policy and sought to freeze the funding that had been awarded to us and actually deposit it into our bank account. But the administration, despite public statements, has admitted repeatedly in court that it has found no fraud, no waste, no abuse, no wrongdoing on our part at all. And while it has mentioned Stacey Abrams from time to time, the fact is that Ms. Abrams was a part-time temporary consultant to one of the coalition members. She was never an employee of PFC. She never received any money from the grant. She was never intended to receive any money and never will receive any money from the grant. So that's the background on that.
So if anyone listening to this conversation were to start doing a Google search, they might see a reference to gold bars. Walk me through the gold bars part of this.
So I don't personally know anything about gold bars. It was apparently a comment made by a junior staffer at the EPA while at a bar or a party or something. And it's been used to try to discredit this entire program. But the fact of the matter is that this was a highly structured, competitive process that the United States government went through to pursue a policy objective, which was to bring money to bear on creating opportunities to adopt much more efficient energy. And today, these are huge nonpartisan issues. There is not enough affordable housing in the United States. People's utility bills are way too high. I mean, the cost of electricity is increasing at twice the rate of inflation and has been for the last few years. People are having to make hard choices between putting food on the table for their families and keeping the lights on in their houses. We're not engaged in a partisan or political process. We're just trying to help create and preserve affordable housing and lower people's utility bills. And we're prepared to do that and have sought to do that in both red jurisdictions and blue jurisdictions, big cities, little towns, rural communities, tribal communities. This is just an effort to try to make everyday people's lives better.
The context for that gold bars reference was during the latter stages of the Biden administration, there was, according to this one mid-level or low-level EPA staffer, a rush to get the money out the door. And the context was it's like we're on the Titanic putting gold bars over the edge. Was there a rush to get the money out the door before the Biden administration ended?
I'm not aware of any rush. I mean, this was a months-long process to actually put together the applications and evaluate them.
A fair amount of the grant awards came before Election Day.
Oh, the grants were awarded before Election Day. We were advised in April of 2024, before the election, that we had won an award. We didn't. We received the money. We accepted the grant in August of 2024. So again, before the election. So I'm not really sure what the focus is on gold bars, but
They've taken on a kind of mythic quality, however. And you mentioned this before, but I want to give you a chance to expound. You said in court filings, the administration has conceded no fraud, no criminality, and the like. How has that happened?
So after we were awarded this grant, the administration froze the funds. It instructed Citibank, where the funds are sitting, not to disperse any of the money to us, and therefore we couldn't disperse the money to projects that we'd already lined up to do. And as this went on for a while, it became apparent that we were going to need to go to court in order to get access to our funds. So we went to federal court here in Washington, D.C., and the federal judge who heard the case asked a lot of questions of the government, including, is there any evidence of fraud? Is there any evidence of waste? Is there any evidence of abuse? And the answer to that was no. We've engaged in a policy change, and therefore we're entitled to freeze these accounts. The judge disagreed with that and issued an injunction prohibiting the government from interfering with our access to the funds. And then the government has appealed that to the Court of Appeals, where the case is now pending.
Got it. You can watch my full interview with Tim Mayopoulos, who has a fascinating career working with the federal government in real estate, banking, and the like, on the Takeout's YouTube page and all podcast platforms.